Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. So recently I went to see the new Salem's Lot movie, which was based or is based on a book by Stephen King of the same name. It's the second book that Stephen King ever published. And I knew going into it that people's thoughts about it was extremely negative. I didn't watch any videos prior to go see it because I didn't want that to taint what I thought about the movie when I watched it or while I was watching it or after or whatever. But by what I saw from people's thumbnails, I knew that people weren't really, enjoying it. I was kind of debating whether to see it or not because this month in October has been a vampire themed month for me. I've been reading vampire books for the majority of this month. There are a couple of non-vampire books that I'll be reading, but that's the end of October. But the majority of my month has been about reading vampire stories. And the majority of the movies I'm watching are vampire movies. So I thought it would be kind of a shame to miss this one. So before I go any further, I just want to say that this is not really going to be a review. It's going to be more of a discussion, but this is going to be my own thoughts and feelings regarding this new adaptation and what I thought about it. And this is going to be a spoiler-free video on the movie and, of course, on the book. So as I said at the start, I know that a lot of people were talking negatively about this movie, and I think that may be kind of a trendy thing to do when the movie's bad, to kind of jump on that whole bandwagon and say that it's bad. And I know that it could be very, very easy for me to say, this movie sucks, that's it, what else do you want to know? And yes, this movie does suck. It is a somewhat of a bad movie, but I enjoyed it. But it did have a kind of a something that drew me in and kind of kept my attention. So just a little bit about the story of Salem's Lot in a nutshell. It is about a author that goes back to his hometown to study this mysterious, strange mansion that is looming in the background of his old uh, hometown. And this building has a lot of significance to him. I mean, for him, it has loads of creepy memories for him. It's a place where kids used to dare each other to go in, and it's a very creepy mansion. So it goes back there to, for research for his new book, probably inspiration, and to confront his demons. And this new shop within Jerusalem's Lot, that's the name of this town, which is sometimes shortened down to Salem's Lot. Basically, this is a small, average American town. And this new shop opens called Straker and Barlow's. I think that's what their name is. And it's an antique shop. And this is a mysterious proprietor and owner of this shop, and Barlow have this kind of strange connection with each other, or relationship. And then as the story progresses, everyone within this town is turning into vampires. Slowly but surely, one at a time, they are slowly being transformed into these creatures of the night until this town is completely enveloped and consumed by this, and there is nothing left. No one's alive in this town. It is consumed with these vampires that are living within this town. So the movie as a whole, as I said, it's a very mixed bag for me. Visually, it looks stunning. The cinematography is excellent. The lighting is excellent. Costumes are really good. The music, I actually enjoyed. It kind of went back to a old time music, that old school music. So that was kind of a good way of um, putting your mind back to that old school time frame, back in the olden days. So the soundtrack I had no complaints with. Yes, it could have had some more up-to-date songs or variations of current songs and made them into that style, but yeah, it probably wouldn't have worked too well. Now the actors, they were okay. They did their best with what they could. Um, but let me just focus on the town now. Stephen King, in his stories, the town and the setting is a character all by itself. That is extremely important with this story and for Salem's Lot. You do get that with other Stephen King books where the town or the city or the location is a character. It isn't a live character, it's the setting, so it makes you feel that you are a part of that location, and as a result of what happens within the storyline, it makes you feel that you're experiencing that with these characters. This goes along with stories like It with Derry. If you've ever read It by Stephen King, despite what your thoughts about it are, the town of Derry in the book is described in extreme detail, that even if you put the original TV movie and the recent movies from It, if you put them all together, that doesn't even come close to the amount of detail that Stephen King writes about Derry. It doesn't even come close. It only briefly touches on the Bradley gang and the Black Spot, which are a massive parts of Derry's history and how it shaped the residents of that town. So in Salem's Lot, the novel, you actually feel that you are a part of that community because you spend time with the residents, you spend a lot of time in Straker's antique shop, and you get used to all these characters, and it makes you really care for them about when this terrible thing is happening to them, because they turn on each other, and they distrust one another, and their relationships break down. So within the movie, we didn't really get that. The location was beautiful. It really was. I've never really been to an old small American town before, but if I was to ever visit, that's what I would imagine it to be like. It was very homely. It was very warm. The color palette of this movie was very desaturated. There was no bright colors or oversaturated scenery or backgrounds. It was very autumn-like. That's probably the best way of me to describe it. But the residents of the movie, we didn't really get to know them. We were kind of told about them very briefly and about their relationships with each other, but I never really got to think that I got to know them. And Straker's shop as well, within the novel, you do spend a fair bit of time within that shop, but we don't really there isn't many scenes within the shop itself. There is one where it has a scene at the start, and you do see Straker putting up a sign up on the window of the door, and you do see him dancing slowly with a woman within the shop. It's shot outside and you can see in the store, but the location was somewhat wasted, I think. So the actors and actresses, let's get to it, shall we? Because I am not familiar with this story like I am with It. With It, I watched the original TV series or TV movie or whatever you want to refer to it as when I was a young teenager. So I got used to that story and them characters. I read the book twice, and obviously I've seen the 2 recent movie adaptations of it. So the story of It as a whole, I'm very familiar with, and the characters as well. But with Salem's Lot, yes, I know what the story is about, but the characters, I don't really have that connection with them as I did with it. Not saying that Salem's Lot as a novel isn't good, it is a good book, but I haven't read it that many times to form that connection with these characters. So when it comes to if these characters were adapted faithfully, I have no idea. But I went into this movie wanting to give it a fair shot. The kids in this movie did their best. I didn't really want to be too harsh with them because they are children. They are at the beginning of their acting career, and they are learning their craft. And I don't really want to, shit on their performances, even though their performances were really terrible. They were believable as kids because of that reason, but their acting ability wasn't the best. But they did the best with what they could. There was a bully character that was introduced at the start that I was thinking was going to be like a Henry Bowers type of character, but it was introduced in one scene and never brought up again. So that was kind of a waste, I think. The main child actor within this movie is called Mark. Now, the character is very into horror movies and horror in general, and he's very knowledgeable about that type of stuff. He is a very tough, no nonsense type of character that isn't afraid to stand up for himself and what he believes is the right thing to do. But he had no character arc whatsoever. So he started off here and he ended up here, and he had to like go through a change, and he ended up better at the end and improving as a person. Nope, he was completely the same character. The actor, as I said, he did his best, but I didn't really find him that interesting. He was just there because he needed to. His character needed to be. They could have fleshed out his character, or the actor could have maybe improvised some stuff. I don't know. The main character, Ben, who is the writer that goes back to the town, I do not know why, but if you've seen his face, he kind of has the bone structure of James McAvoy, but his looks remind me a lot of Tom Holland as Spider-Man. So I do not know whether this actor is related to either one of them actors, but he did actually kind of look like a knockoff of one of them two characters. And when I was going to work today, I was thinking about if James McAvoy was in this movie, it would probably be better. He would. I know he goes well in his roles, but he couldn't really probably be in this movie because people know him as Bill in It. But his character was okay. He was very scared a lot of the time, but he was okay. We had the female main character, which was supposed to be the love interest. Didn't really get any chemistry from that. They seemed to be more friends rather than love interest. We had the school teacher who was wearing a jacket, and because Stephen King is a massive Red Sox fan, the baseball team, he had the Red Sox logo on his jacket. So I thought, okay, that was a kind of a nice nod to that. But he seems extremely knowledgeable about vampires, and he was kind of like this gateway for people getting used to what the residents of Salem's Lot are like, about how they kind of stick up for one another and how they are how they are people of their words. But he was okay. We had a nurse, no, a doctor actually. I don't know if she was in the book, but she was probably the least interesting character apart from Mark. Um, yeah, she was kind of the fish out of water type of character that was introduced to these she was forced to um, come to terms with that vampires are real, because she was saying, oh no, they're actually not real, but one of her patients turned into one in front of her and she was forced to admit that. So the vampires, let's get to that now. The vampires in this movie are, let's be honest, the best part of the movie. That's why we go to see vampire movies, is to see the monsters themselves. So they were really good. They were somewhat scary. They spent a lot of their times perched on the roofs of the houses at night, and I mean, kind of like birds do. And I think that this was kind of a nice touch, because it kind of was like them claiming their territory, standing on this house and saying, right, this is mine, go away, or there'll be trouble. There wasn't that much blood in this movie. There was blood, but the vampires were scary. I liked it how they were extremely fast. I mean, you've seen the trailer about how Ben is in this street at night and how he turns around and then suddenly there's all these vampires everywhere, and it's a very intimidating scene. Notorious scene about how one of the kids knocks on a window wanting to be invited in, because that's a thing within this book. I think about how they can be invited. I mean, they can only enter your house if you invite them in, which is a reoccurring thing within vampire lore. And that was a kind of a cool scene, not really scary, more creepy. But yeah, it was a good scene. So Straker, who is the Renfield character of Barlow, he was a mixed bag. He really was. His demeanor and his costume and his look reminded me a lot about a character from a Western film. He looked like he maybe was from that era, and then he never really adapted to the world and changed with the world, so he just stayed in that whole time frame within his mind. But he is very, very dedicated to Barlow. He is responsible for getting Barlow's victims and keeping him safe. There is a scene where he is in a car and he is trying to get these two kids to come with him so he can take them to Barlow so he can drink their blood. But the way that he does it is extremely cringy. I think that the director kind of went for, when Pennywise was in the sewer, about how he was trying to get Georgie to come with him. It was kind of like a moth to the flame. Pennywise kind of has this charm to him where he can lure his victims towards him with a full sense of security that he is a kind and gentle soul. And then when his victims are at their most vulnerable, he strikes. But Straker, he was playing it dead serious, completely freaking creepy. I mean, I'm a full-grown man and I wouldn't have even got into that car with him. Barlow, as a main villain, he was Dracula in this book, because that's what Stephen King was going for. He wanted to write a book where, what if Dracula came to a small American town? What would actually happen? And people may be thinking, oh, well, Barlow's hardly, in this movie. I could say that about Dracula, the novel. Dracula in Bram Stoker's book is hardly, in the book itself. So Barlow, his look is fantastic. He is creepy. His demeanor is so intimidating, and he is a excellent villain in my personal opinion. He does speak, so make of that what you will. With every scene that he's in, I was always paying attention, and I loved it whenever he was on the screen. There is also a character which I also want to mention called Father Callahan, who comes up in some other Stephen King books. He is a kind of a priest that has lost his faith, and he always drinks alcohol, and he's the unconventional priest. I actually liked his character. I think he was the one, well, apart from Barlow, I think he was the highlight of the movie. So that's what I liked about the movie. What I didn't like was some of the characters, and also it's a very slow burning movie. Because I'm a reader of Stephen King and a reader in general, I like slow burning books, or slow build up books. So if you aren't used to that, then you won't like this movie. If you aren't a reader and you don't like slow burning movies, then you won't like this movie. If you are a reader and you don't like slow burning books, then you won't like this movie. It will drag for you. I mean, I like slow burning books, and I was being slightly bored with this movie. I was thinking, can we get on with it, or can we show a little bit more? So that is one thing I didn't like. Mark, I didn't like the character, but he's a kid. I don't really want to shit on his performance. He did his best. And one of the other things I didn't like was the crosses. Now, the crosses that they use, you may see this in posters and in the trailer, when they hold them up to vampires, no matter what they're made of, wood, metal, whatever, they glow, and they actually glow when they hold them up to vampires. Now, this only happens if the person has faith in the cross itself and the religious purposes of it. If they don't have faith in this cross working, then it won't glow, and as a result, it won't work on the vampires. So it was kind of weird at first, but I kind of got used to it. Didn't really. I mean, it could have got fixed with a simple lighting setup. If they lit the scene a bit better, they probably wouldn't have to use that or go down that route. Hi guys, I forgot to mention this as well, that when they're using crosses, they, in this movie, they can't get two sticks and hold them up against each other to form a cross. That won't work against these vampires. What they do need to do is tape these two sticks together so they form one solid object, and then it'll work. So I thought it was kind of a stupid thing where they couldn't just get two sticks and hold them in the form of a cross to ward off these vampires. It just seemed a bit stupid, a bit unnecessary, and seemed a bit of a stupid way of keeping the watcher in suspense, and drawing out the scene for longer than it should really need to. But yeah, I would definitely get this on DVD and I mean Blu-ray rather, and watch it again. It's not the best. I know it sucks. I know it's probably gonna be easy if I say the movie sucks. That's it. If you're curious about watching it, just know everything that I've just said. Just go in there, sit down, relax, and just know that you're in there for the long haul. There was two other people in there with me. One of them checked their phone once or twice, I think, for probably the time, and there was another guy just across the aisle from me. He got up to go to the bathroom twice, and he was always on his phone, and when he came back, he sat on the front row, which told me he was extremely bored of this movie. And when the movie actually ended on the last scene, he didn't even wait for the end credits, he just went. So I understand completely the somewhat hate that this movie is getting, but I don't know, there was something about it I enjoyed. It's not perfect, but I understand why this movie gets a bit of hate. So let me know, have you watched this movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? If you liked it, what did you like about it? And if you didn't like it, let me know why you didn't like it. What was it that you didn't like? Was it because it was a slow burn, the vampires weren't scary, the actors were, you know, a bit terrible? But yeah, but let me know down below, what did you think about this movie, and why you did or did not like it. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. This video's gone on for long enough. I've got to edit this now. So yeah, long and the short of it is, because this movie was over here for a very short release time. There was only one day which I could see it. Apart from that, it was on late at night, so I could only see it that one day, which was a couple of days ago. But if you can have an opportunity to see this movie, as I said, just remember what I've just said, and just go in there with your own thoughts, with your own opinion, because we've all got our own thoughts and our own minds. But just go in there and just try to enjoy it, because it isn't as terrible as people think. And I have seen Lost Boys too, so I know what a bad vampire movie is. So yeah, I think this video's gone on long enough, guys. So thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with me for this long, and I'll see you in my next video.